We got some breaking news in the MLB world, and we're here to break it down. Juan Soto reportedly shutting down a 15-year, $440 million deal from the Washington Nationals, and now they're entertaining some trade talks with them. I know Juan Soto's kind of been in the trade rumors forever. They've always said no. I guess Washington really thought this $440 million deal would be enough. Can't say I blame them. But Matt, what's your instant reaction to this news?
I mean, my first reaction was it would be really nice to be able to turn down a $440 million offer just to play his sport. But we kind of all saw this coming. You know, there's been reports that he hasn't been happy in Washington. You know, last trade deadline, they shipped out Scherzer. They shipped out Trey Turner. So the rebuild in Washington has kind of been here, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't really make a lot of moves that were win now. And honestly, Juan Soto just doesn't fit that rebuild. Like, he's too good of a player to, you know, be on this rebuilding team. And he's kind of like the anti-Mike Trout. Like, Mike Trout got his money, is staying with the Angels despite the fact that they're not a very good baseball team. Juan Soto, I just don't think he wants to be in Washington.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
I think that's all it came down to.
Like, they won the World Series not even a few years ago. I think that's the crazy part to me. 2019, they won the World Series, and then they broke the roster up.
Yeah.
It's such a weird dynamic what's going on in Washington. And, you know, they're saying now that they won't trade him unless they're blown away by some offer.
Which will be the case.
You know that teams are going to be throwing everything they can at this point.
I mean, there's only, I don't even, like, it's such a crazy, like, piece of news to digest because Juan Soto, like, he's young, you know. He's really young. He's really good. He has, I mean, they just won the World Series in 2019. I just, like you said, I don't really think he just wants to be there. I think that's all it is. I don't think it's a money issue. I mean, I'm sure obviously there's a number that would get him to stay. Everybody has their price. But when it comes down to it, I just don't think he wants to be in Washington. And, you know, if you look at Washington's future and everything, their farm system is Their players they have on the team now that are, like, young, like, it was Juan Soto or bust there, and I can tell you this. If Juan Soto is traded, they will have plenty of options in the farm system. They will have plenty of options at the major league level. I have no clue what a Juan Soto trade is going to look like. I have no clue. I think it is more than likely going to be the craziest trade we have ever seen. Absolutely unreal. On our Walk-Off Wednesday show, we talked about a Shohei Ohtani deal just breaking the world. This is probably the second biggest deal we would see. We got the young player that's, you know, a pretty once-in-a-lifetime talent. The Juan Soto deal, I think it's inevitable at this point. He just clearly doesn't want to be there. But the question is going to be, what's the package? Who are some teams that are going to be interested? And at the end of the day, everybody's probably going to be like, hey, what do you want for Juan Soto? But 75% of the teams are going to be like, yeah, I'm good. Almost instantly. So
let's also remember, this is a 23-year-old superstar.
Yeah.
It's not like he's like 28, 29.
He's
you know, granted, baseball players, you know, play till their, you know, late 30s. This dude is 23 years old.
Yeah.
And he has experience winning in this league. He is a bona fide superstar at this point. So we've never seen a player like this go on the market. Like, granted, different ages, but this is very similar to what is going on in the NBA right now. The fact that Kevin Durant is on the trade block.
Yeah.
You don't see players of this magnitude get put on the trade block very often.
Ever. Especially with, this much on his deal. Like, everything about it is just crazy. Everything about it is crazy.
He just doesn't want to be in Washington. So now it begs the question, like, who's willing to give up, like, everything to go get this guy?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And, I mean, obviously your mind's going to go to the big market teams. The LAs, the Yankees, the New Yorks, maybe even the Bostons. I think, you know, it's really going to come down to who wants to gut their team, their farm system. And I think, you know, one of the teams that immediately comes to mind, I just mentioned, is the Yankees. I think that, the Yankees have a good amount of stuff to offer. They have Volpe and Peraza. They have some good pitching prospects. They can give you some flyers on the MLB roster now. Whatever. Like, the haul you're going to get is going to be ridiculous. But from a Yankees perspective, you're going for this season, the season that you're already having that's unreal, you full send for your championship this year with a lineup with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in it it immediately might be the best 1-2 duo we've ever seen, just pure talent wise, season production. It's unreal. Obviously, it's going to come down to who would really just want a full send it for this year or full send it for the future. But Matt, I know you're the Dodgers fan here. You think there's any possibility he ends up in Dodger blue?
Oh, 100%. 100%. He has been linked to this team the last couple of years. There's very few teams that win on that level but still have a loaded farm system.
Yeah.
There's a reason the Dodgers have been successful. It's not that they just go spend money. Most of the players were not bought. Most of the players were not traded for. They were developed in the system and brought up, or they were just pieces that teams let go of that no one wanted, and the Dodgers took them on and built them up. This team spends so much money, yet their farm system is still loaded.
Yeah.
So, there's all these rumors going around that, Dodgers are interested in Luis Castillo. Dodgers are interested in Frankie Montas. I think Andrew Friedman's complete focus shifts right now.
Absolutely.
Because also, let's not forget, the Dodgers and Nationals made a trade last year. So they have some familiarity there with the prospects of the Dodgers. The Nationals have familiarity there. Let's also not forget, Juan Soto is best friends with Trey Turner.
He's going to be a free agent, though, to be fair.
Andrew Friedman, right? Let me go into Andrew Friedman's mind here for a second, right? Trey Turner is a free agent this coming season, right?
Yeah.
There's very few teams that can go pay this many players. Dodgers are one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You go and trade for Trey Turner's best friend, the guy who showed up at the wild card game last year against the Cardinals, rooting for the Dodgers because of his best friend, Trey Turner, in Dodger Stadium. You go get him, you're almost guaranteeing Trey Turner stays with your team.
Yeah, I mean, and from a national standpoint, the Dodgers have to be one. It makes sense. The prospect haul you're going to get: Diego Cartaya, Bobby Miller, Pages, Vargas, Bush, whatever you want.
Brandon Knack, that's just the top 6 or 7.
And then they can take flyers on guys. They can take flyers. They could take a Dustin May if they wanted. They could take a Cody Bellinger if they wanted.
And I guarantee you, Andrew Friedman would probably trade a Gavin Lux.
Gavin Lux. That's another name.
Gavin Lux is having a hell of a
year
right
now. He is.
So this is probably where his value is the highest. And if you're Friedman, yes, you want Lux on your team long term. Okay, we all understand that. But if you can package Gavin Lux, maybe not Dustin May, because I think the Nationals would want to see how he comes back from the injury.
Yeah, but the Nationals can ask for whatever they want. So
yeah, that's the thing. Honestly, outside of Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and I'd say
Trey Turner,
Will Smith, maybe.
Yeah.
And Walker Buehler, everyone else.
I think they would give up. I think they'd give up Will Smith if they need. But again, they have, and even if they did have to give Will Smith, like I said, they have so many prospects, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. I'm gonna come at you guys with another possible angle for a Juan Soto deal. Again, these are all speculation, but a team that I could really see being in on him. I'm gonna go back to the AL East. I don't know if they would do it because not that it would tear down what they've done, but it just would not shock me if Juan Soto was a Baltimore Oriole. Again, I mean, at this point, Juan Soto can be traded to wherever. They run that risk of maybe not being able to, maybe him not wanting to be there too. But you look at what Baltimore's doing this year. They're a 500 baseball team right now in a very loaded division. You have one of the best farm systems in baseball. You can come off of all of these assets and still have an okay farm system. And then you still have the number 1 pick in the MLB draft, whoever they take there. Yep. You're adding you're not paying anybody. You're going to pay Juan Soto, and you're going to give up a lot of prospects, but you still have a good system. You still have some young players on your roster. You're not going to give up all of them. You still have the first pick in the MLB draft. You have your face of your franchise now in Juan Soto. it makes sense. I don't know if Baltimore is going to kind of take that route. The Pirates could kind of take a similar route approach if they wanted to as well, kind of the same vibe.
If I'm the Nationals, if you aren't giving me O'Neal Cruz, I'm hanging.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what I mean. They're just pretty similar to the O's in that loaded farm system. Like they could acquire. They have the when you're just looking at as trade assets.
What about like Arizona?
Arizona makes sense. Arizona's farm system is really good.
Yeah, and I mean, like, ultimately, I can see it realistically going one of two ways. He's going to go to an AL team because if I'm the Nationals, why do I want to play this team?
So
right? Like,
he's not going to the Mets. So all the Mets fans, it's not happening.
Yeah, he's not going within the division unless the Mets are literally giving up everything they can, literally everything within that farm system. He's not going to the Braves. Marlins, maybe.
I still don't see it happening. He's not going to trade him in the division. Why would you do that to yourself?
Exactly. He's not going to the Phillies, that's for sure. But like, realistically, it's kind of hard to see too many NL teams. Maybe the Padres. Like, it really just depends. I think out of the NL teams, the Dodgers make the most sense.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying they make the most sense in totality, but just looking at the NL, the Dodgers make the most sense. But because don't forget, Cody Bellinger, they could easily get rid of him, and also Chris Taylor just signed a.
There's a number of like the Dodgers present that the best case scenario in my opinion instantly, just because they have the minor league talent and they have some MLB talent where you can kind of
have the money to pay this guy.
Yeah,
Andrew Friedman has been very. I want to say stingy with the large contracts he gives out. I guarantee this would be one of the ones he would be willing to shell out, basically. Especially after they didn't go and sign Corey Seager. Let's also not forget they're going to be getting all that money back from the Trevor Bauer deal, because I don't believe he's getting paid while he's being suspended.
Yeah.
So all that money that they were supposed to be spending the next 2 years, that's coming back. So I think NL, the Dodgers make the most sense. AL, like you said, the Yankees instantly, because it's just a big market. And I think if I'm the Yankees, like, you have to weigh that though, because are you really going to be paying Aaron Judge big money and Juan Soto big money and Giancarlo Stanton and Garrett Cole? Like, I understand that I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit in the regards, but the Dodgers are willing to do this. We've seen
and the Dodgers have a much better farm system than the Yankees. So.
Exactly, and honestly, I trust the Dodgers like scouting a lot more than I trust the Yankees scouting. But like, if you're the Yankees, you have to decide, like, is it worth it really? You're having this great year. Why break that up? I don't know. Like, I think that's the question you have there. What about like the Rays?
I don't know.
Such an interesting. I mean, granted, I don't think they would pay him, so that's the problem. But like, it's
because then they'd have him and Wander.
Yeah, but that's all. And they find talent in other ways.
Yeah, so they do.
I think the AL East team. What about the Blue Jays? Like,
Blue Jays also have a good farm.
The Blue Jays want to make a splash and really be like, this is our division, basically.
The Blue Jays could definitely. I didn't even think about that. That's ridiculous to even think about that. That could possibly happen. I mean, they can give up Gabriel Moreno. They can give up, some of their outfielders that they have now.
If the Nationals want some like MLB players, they have plenty of those they can throw at them.
Yeah, like you could give them Matt Chapman, who you just signed. That's a pretty good piece too. You can give them, Gurriel and Biggio.
Vladimir Guerrero is like the one player that would be untouchable there.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep Guerrero and Bichette, I feel like everybody else is on the table.
Yeah, I agree. George Springer. I mean, he's not a horrible piece to go back to you.
Yeah,
he's a little older, but like he's not horrible.
Yeah,
you'd be setting in the tone in that division for years to come. Basically, like, screw you Yankees, screw you Red Sox.
Yeah,
Orioles are coming up, but like we're the big dogs here, basically.
Yeah,
they've been wanting to do that. They just fired their manager. Like, this would be a power move, essentially, by the Blue Jays.
Yeah, but that's gonna wrap up our Juan Soto reaction. He turned down 15 years, $440 million. And now he might be traded. The trade deadline's approaching. Make sure you're following along on all the TWSN social medias. Check out the Walk Off Wednesday show. Wednesdays on the TWSN YouTube channel. We'll be breaking down all the trades, some potential trades, all the MLB talk there. Like I said, all the MLB news will be on the TWSN Twitter, website, whatever it is. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We can't wait to see where Juan Soto lands. Comment down below where you think he'll end up.